What if the real gap in real estate today isn't access to data, but how it's being interpreted and understood? What happens when thousands of agents are looking at the exact same information, yet interpreting completely different? And what does the market actually look like from the level of someone who sees how it all connects? John Di Michele, CEO of the Toronto Real Estate Board, sits at the center of one of the largest real estate data ecosystems in North America. With visibility into how over 70,000 agents operate, he is uniquely positioned to see not just what the market is doing, but how it is being interpreted, misinterpreted, and acted on at scale. In this episode, John shares what he is seeing from inside the system, where the biggest disconnects exist between perception and reality, and what agents may be focusing on that ultimately won't matter as much as they think. This conversation challenges how we think about data, decision-making, and what it actually means to understand the market today. Welcome once again to Broker's Playbook. My name is Simeon Papailias, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing both a friend and an industry leader in the CEO of the Toronto Real Estate Board, Mr. John Di Michele. John, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Simeon.
How was that for an intro? You like that?
Yeah.
Powerful.
I like it.
My friend, I haven't seen you in a bit. I've seen you at a couple of conferences, always trying to steal a minute. I'm very, very honored that you're here and took the time during what is one of the biggest, most chaotic markets that I've ever lived through. I'm in the business this is my 20th year in real estate, my 18th year licensed. I started selling businesses and kind of worked my way into bricks and mortar. But 20 years in the business, and I have never ever lived through both the most exciting, evolving market in AI, tools, resources, data. Never have we had access to so much. Mm-hmm. Yet on the flip side of all the exciting stuff, you have a market that's literally on life support. It's slow. The transaction count is possibly the lowest in 3-4 decades. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of doom and gloom, but then there's that huge bright star in the sky where technology and data are changing the way we do business. So I have a lot to unpack, and I just couldn't think of anybody that knows more about both those worlds than you. So again, thank you for being here.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to come, and it's a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to come and talk to you. And I really appreciate the fact that even in your introduction, you've set the tone for what everybody's experiencing right now. I can tell you though that we've had these hiccups over the years. I mean, I remember, I guess, in mid-90s when I first started, and it was just a nightmare, and then all of a sudden overnight, everything changed. We had the same thing happen in 2008, 2017, where the market really does go through this exercise, and then all of a sudden overnight it changes. My instincts tell me that's going to happen exactly the same way. It's just confusing right now as to where interest rates actually are and what's happening in the marketplace, and we're still calling for change. So I'm not really sure what it is other than one thing: uncertainty.
Market confidence is based on stability, and that volatility is causing this quagmire. 100%.
Think about tariffs. Think of all these things where people are thinking, will I have a job tomorrow? And that's, I know it's an old tale. Everybody's been talking about this, but realistically, without this stability, without the certainty of saying, well, tomorrow I'm going to go to work. But then if you look at just the cost of homes and the millennial group. I heard a stat the other day that 40% of these kids are living in their parents' basements. And you know what? That's true because I have that going on, right? Myself. You need, if it was 3 times income to buy a house today, think about that. If you're going to buy a regular home, 3 times income is what you need in order to do this.
And what's the average in this city? Let's call it 80,000 in Toronto.
Know.
Outside of Toronto, you're talking about 40 and 50.
Yeah.
So, but even if it was 3 times, we're talking about $250,000. That hasn't been seen since 1998.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So something is definitely amiss. And I think that, when you look at even the immigration numbers and the fact that they haven't come into the market, then that's the first-time buyer world, right? We're seeing incentives now to get new homes built. But I think the problem that we're really facing is this concept that it's below the border where the problems start.
100%.
Right?
So I can tell you for certain, January 2024, yes, it was right after the U.S. election. So November was the election. He got inaugurated, and we did an event. Like the way I run my business, I do events. I have 100 people show up to an event, whether I'm selling real estate or solving for mortgage things, whatever the case. I'm an events guy, sales at scale.
Yeah.
We have about 250 people in this banquet hall. We're having the discussion. There's panels, there's developers all speaking to different points of how the market, what they expect to see. At this event, there was different opportunities, and we had maybe a dozen people do what's called a reservation sheet to pick up real estate at a specific development in Kitchener-Waterloo. Mm-hmm. People spoke about precious metals, like it was the inflationary time still, very much kind of the end of the trying to fix inflation, where they had interest rates were up here,
right?
All the things. The next day, this was a Saturday. Sunday, Trump made the announcement where he said the word tariffs. Every single reservation sheet.
Wow.
Every single commitment that people made inside the room, there was lots of deals there. It was mortgages. It was all these different financial tools and opportunities. Not a single deal survived the week of his commencement, January 20th, whatever that was. Not a single deal. So for people to, and I'm not saying this for nothing, it is when people say like what happened that day, the market in November and December was coming back. So if anybody wants to challenge or take a look at what I'm referring to, activity at TRREB, because I call my front desk here at the office. We have 1,500 agents here. If I say how many showings were booked today, I know if the market's going down, up, and sideways.
Of course.
You, of course, have the visibility of 70,000 agents, we'll get to that. But the reason I'm saying it, November, December of 23, the market was starting to just get some breath. And the moment the gentleman took office south of the border and started his chaotic campaign of Americanism or whatever the case, nationalist agenda, whatever that may be, it affected us to a very significant point. Mm-hmm. And it continues to.
Yeah, I think that if you look at all those events you just cited and the continuous disruption to the confidence factor here in other places of the world, not just us, it's become almost a campaign not just to disrupt, but to create, like you said, chaos. And we're even seeing this now with the wars. But if we look at just the simple fundamentals, we're not the only ones suffering at the hand of tariffs.
No.
So are the Americans.
Maybe even more so.
Yeah, of course, because like I have family members in the manufacturing business, and some of that material has to cross the border maybe once or twice before it gets into its final use stage. And every time it crosses, there's added costs. And we're starting to see that. I mean, this is bizarre, but I went to the grocery store yesterday, and a bag of chips that like a couple months ago cost $2.49, it's $5.49 today. What is going on? Like, I'm sorry, but I can't buy chips.
Exactly to your point.
Happening?
Beside my house, there's a Loblaws that my wife likes to shop at, but she goes to No Frills for like everything that's stock. Like if it's in a box,
Sure.
it's cheaper there. She goes there.
Of course.
She sends me to go to No Frills to pick up. We had people coming over to pick up a case of Coca-Cola, chips, and she goes, "Oh, they have younger kids. Maybe pick up maybe some hot dog buns. I don't know what they want. We have chicken fingers in the freezer, etc." I haven't bought hot dogs in, I don't know, 10 years. Like, it's just not my department at home. But I remember hot dogs being, I don't know, like $3.50, $5. That little cooler, there was nothing under $9. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, right beside, there's meat counter. I'm like, should I just buy some chicken breasts?
Okay.
Like, what's the difference here?
I just got the same lecture from my wife. She said they're $10. It's $1 each.
It's
I went,
weird.
what the heck's going on?
It's downright weird.
It is.
But that is the effect.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the driver of
And
that.
it's a chill. It chills everything. And imagine this is the most expensive decision you're going to make, because not only are you buying an asset, but you're also getting some serious debt. You're going to make a good decision. You want to make a confident decision. If
You're
uncertain,
committing to the carry.
That's right.
So the price is one thing, and people sometimes get really stuck on that. Like, we are talking about real estate. Real estate is going to go up, down, typically upwards if history is our teacher and the world is our teacher. Real estate will go up and down, upwards over time. So the long-term benefit is going to be there. I'm not going to say guaranteed, because we don't need to use silly words. But the market is stable. The Canadian economy, Canada is a safe country.
It is.
The United States is a safe country. Like, these are stable, very secure markets. It's not a third world country. We're almost never or never have been attacked with missiles, God forbid. But you don't have a lot of other things that people have to think about. Here you have to think about your contribution to society and your commitment to your debts should you decide to take them on. And I think that's where you nailed it. Until the regular consumer, which is every one of us, when people feel safe in their ability to go to work and not get laid off, they feel comfortable that grocery prices aren't going to skyrocket. They feel confident that their kids can go to school and they can still afford to go to a movie. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I think we're at a stage right now where there has to be some sort of break. And, we see government wanting to take action to try and help this go forward, because they're not making money either. When we don't sell homes, when you don't sell homes, no land transfer taxes. That's a big, big amount of money. And we spin off $70,000 in additional business every time you do a deal. And think about that. So that is look, it came really clear to me when we were deemed, and we worked hard to be deemed as essential during pandemic. Essential service, right?
Of course.
And without real estate, the economies would have crumbled, okay? Because you guys did a tremendous job during that period.
It was
of time.
insane.
It was. And if you think about that, the impact we have on the economy is $3 trillion in North America. $3 trillion in the resale market alone. That doesn't include commercial, doesn't include new homes. Now imagine the impact of real estate on the economy, $3 trillion. Okay, so and you have to look at the bigger picture here. But the big picture right now, to me, just seems confusing. You cannot make heads or tails from this. And I think if all the indicators, all the basic needs are there, we should be in a balanced market. But there's something holding people back, and the only thing that we can talk about is uncertainty.
Indeed. Now, there has been a few developments in the new construction industry, specifically help and assistance by the federal government, as well as even bigger contribution by the province. Federally, the government said that the Ontario consumer can pick up new construction, and they're going to take off the HST to first-time home buyers.
That's something we worked really hard on.
Yes, you did.
I created a coalition of people, like-minded people in our sector, and we put that together and actually sent the letter And now that it was great news to hear the federal government decided to participate too.
The bigger portion of your work in contribution to that is the Ford government announced not only its support for first-time home buyers, but as a matter of fact, opened it up to everyone to try to generate some of that confidence and take off the entire provincial sales tax on a new home completely off.
Yes.
That is significant. Now we're talking, that is a very long-awaited announcement of true, in my opinion, true progress. It's not riddled in red tape, how it will be applied. It's very clear how it's applied. It's for everyone. If you're buying builder paper,
Yep.
which promotes the economy to move forward, they want to get rid of the inventory builders are holding in order for builders to go get a new project. They need construction working. They need furniture being sold. They need the effect that you were talking about. That entire 70,000 in spin-off business has halted. That can't happen.
It hurts everybody.
It hurts everybody.
And it helps everybody when it's working.
So a return to a healthy market is going to take, I believe, even more than this exciting announcement. What do you believe is in the pipe next from government trying to put its hand in? Do you see development charges? Do you see...
What we're starting to see the municipalities and the mayors come to the table with looking at development charges. Development charges are effectively a tax, right? And if you look at how much money is still in their coffers with respect to development charges, they can afford to participate as well. So we're hoping to see more of the municipal mayors and the councils come to the table with something that's going to help with DCs. And we know that we've escalated that to both the federal and provincial governments. So hopefully they'll also see it. And they see it too. They see this as a tax, and they want to make sure that it's handled properly and spurs development.
John, only because I have such privilege to speak to so many builders and developers. It got to the point where in certain areas, the surcharges, the cost, the development charges, the taxes amounted to over 30% of the overall price.
It's a third.
That is obviously why it got to where it got, from a price per square foot, the ability for a developer to develop. If a third of it, if 30% is already off the board, and before anything ever happens, the carrying cost of putting a high-rise project together, the carrying cost of putting a subdivision together becomes non-working. You can't paper a project and pencil it for profit, where it's not a charity. A builder has to be profitable in order to pay people to get the job done. With 30% or more at the final level is where it got unaffordable to the consumer. If the market can bear $800 a square foot, for example, and you're building at $900, and you have to sell at $1,200 in order to make profit because all the people have to eat.
Yeah.
That's how we get to a problem. So for anybody trying to understand where we're going with this, what John mentioned, first from the HST and GST to development charges, we're talking, if they were to take, actually it could be 15, 20, 25% reduction in new construction costs, which will translate into savings to anybody watching this show. And for all our industry brethren and sistren, like, this is something that you need to get loud about to educate your audiences, for them to know what the opportunity is and where it's coming from, and how our real estate board has a lot to do with the lobbying and making these things happen.
Yeah. We actually spent a lot of time on these issues and continue to spend time on it. The good news is that we have our political friends, the politicians and the municipal councillors and the mayors that are willing, and the premier, in fact, and these folks are willing to put more money at this point in time in the hands of consumers when they want to buy shelter. And, you know, there's a bunch of policies out there right now that are focused on Canadians being successful. Like the foreign buyer ban is one of them. But is this something that can be sustained? Probably not.
No,
but
I don't
at
see
this
that
time,
being renewed this winter.
well, we'll see what happens. But I think that, if Canadians are struggling to buy homes, they're going to have to understand that. But they've also got other programs that they're working on that I think are brilliant. For instance, these municipally owned facilities that will do water treatment locally rather than having to connect to the pipe, because it's very expensive to connect to the pipe. But it can't be that expensive where it's a third of the cost to build a home. And that's what we're trying to say is, look, there are better ways. And I think this provincial government really wants to do something in that regard as they try to spur development. And that's an exciting part. But we need to really see what is stalling or solve what's stalling the consumer from actually, going after their dreams. And I'm one of those people. We've been looking to sell and move as well. And it just doesn't make sense right now for us to do it. So we're at the point of thinking, okay, we need to downsize. We want to do things. Our kids want to own their own places as well. But it's a struggle. It really is a struggle.
It really is a struggle. In our family, we have at least 3 family members we had grandparents from my wife's side pass on. Properties do need to be sold to be distributed to children and all those different things. And everybody's on a standstill. Mm-hmm. So there is no doubt that there is a massive amount of pent-up transactions to be handled.
100%.
It's just a matter of when and how they actualize is, I think, exactly what we're trying to shed some light on. This could be my last question to you, specifically to the market and market outlook, because I have so many questions on the tech side where
Sure.
You're a true leader in. Market outlook, we spoke a little bit just now about potentially pent up, including yourself. If you need a realtor, let me know. If John needs a realtor, I think I know one. Maybe me, maybe not.
Yeah, my son's a realtor. Just saying.
Oh, shucks. Hey, I've heard that one before. I have a script for that.
Yeah.
Jokes. Market outlook. Not like we've spoken about how unpredictable things are, etc. So I'm not looking for a crystal ball moment. Do you believe the next couple of years are going to be very different than the last couple of years?
100%.
100%.
There's no way that this can be sustained. And, there's going to be that person that's going to say, you know what? I don't care. Let's just sell or let's just buy. And we need to get this done. Let's do it. Let's move on with our lives. We can manage this. Let's do it. And I believe that that's going to happen. And usually that is what spurs every market turnaround.
The
there.
turnaround.
Yeah.
Somebody put that specific circumstance that you're talking about, like where enough is enough kind of thing, and people just make their move. It was a gentleman that came and spoke to my team. I brought in someone to speak to our team, and he was talking about noise, all this noise. So I lead a very special group of agents. They're all very senior. They don't need motivation or rah-rah to get them going. They understand the business. They know it. But negativity, unfortunately, when it falls, it blankets everyone. Mm-hmm. And nobody's safe from it, not me, not you. If it's constantly negative, it's going to get to you. And what this gentleman said to the team is what he's seeing in the market is all the noise, the negative noise. But there's a time where that noise becomes white noise because you're all sounding the same. Doom, gloom, all that nonsense. Sometimes you just got to silence. Mm-hmm. Reshape, refocus, knowing, and again, I happen to agree with you. I believe the next 2 years are going to be significant in the turnaround.
100%.
In how we position ourselves is also going to be, now talking industry, how we position ourselves matters. I want to take that in turn, and I'm going to ask you specifically about your role at the Toronto Real Estate Board. You've been at this for more than a minute. You have made massive change to the way we operate, to the data that we have, to the tools that we have. Tell me, I'm going to ask you of things that you don't like later, but I want you to tell me about what you're most proud of to see how Realm is working, how the integration of tools is working. Tell me about what you're proud of right now inside TRREB.
Well, I think PropTex has been probably one of my most significant endeavors and ideas. And PropTex, I think, has had the opportunity, given us the opportunity to really do something that I've been preaching about for over 20 years, which is a single database in Ontario. And it seems to be coming to fruition. I think we really have opened the opportunity for this to create this seamless, transparent marketplace for both consumers and realtors. You know, I mean, through realtors, we serve the consumer, always have. And when you look at the map now, and what, especially in our ecosystem in Southern Ontario, it's amazing that we can actually do all these things.
I'm going to tell you what I'm proud of, and I'm going to share something with you that maybe you haven't heard or seen before. I got a text yesterday at 3:27 p.m. Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, amigo, can you send me condo options in the 500K range? No galley kitchen, 600 square foot plus. Balcony is a must. Parking would be a bonus. Nothing more than 500 in condo fees. Nothing west of Roncy. Nothing north of Bloor. Nothing east of Jarvis. If this man knew how to define C1, he would have said C1. Okay. Also, if you have a good deal on a rental, we might be interested.
Okay.
Seamus. This is a real text sent to me by somebody who I met last week. Simply chatted. Might be looking for something. Might be the right time. He overheard me talking to one of my agents, explaining, like, right now, if you have money, I'm not saying borrow.
Mm-hmm.
If you have money, there's no better time for you to buy real estate.
100%.
Like, real estate is absolutely butthurt in every way. Sellers are taking things that they never have before. So what did I do? Because I asked you about the PropTech system. I pressed on my iPhone, I pressed hold, I pressed copy, I log in to Realm. Right underneath the first search button is try giving a voice command, such as, what are you looking for? I press paste. Doesn't it spit out 7 listings that I emailed, directly to my client, the entire, and I texted Seamus back to say, hey, but I just emailed you a few options. I just want to know if this is what you're looking for. Confirm it, I'll set up a proper search. I haven't onboarded the client. I haven't done what I needed to do. But in minutes, at 3:30, I get this text. At 4 o'clock, I have listings. I never set a single filter. Paste. What does this do for our industry? And does this make you happy?
Yes, it does.
Yes,
it really does.
It made me happy.
And I think when we look at the bigger picture with AI, and I think this is where, so we brought in AI, I think we've had it now for a few years in the system. But now with the proliferation of tools, and the interesting thing about tools, it's generative AI that are creating all these tools. So there's a ton of tools out there right now. And it's exciting times. People fear it, but don't be afraid. And I think that's what we all have to understand, that you don't fear it. It is something that will enhance the services you provide. But AI can't do a few things. One, it cannot remember why that house 2 blocks down 4 years ago sold for a specific price. But you, as a realtor who worked that neighborhood, you will know specifically why. It'll consume the data and say, okay, this is why I think. But you guys will know for sure. The other thing AI can't do is it can't smell, right? It can't yet. It cannot smell. It cannot smell what that house smelled like, or if it did have a mold issue, or if certain things had to be replaced. Those are the things that you will help the consumer understand. The consumer needs that
Context.
The trusted professional is such a big part of the transaction. Never go away. People think, oh yeah. No, never going to go. Not every time something new happens. When the book first came out, before my time, but I heard everybody's upset that there was this book. Then the internet happened. Oh, you're putting the listings on the internet? What's happening here? Then Realtor.ca, oh my God, we're all going to lose our jobs. Then other companies come in, oh my God, we're all going to lose it. Never going to happen.
And then buying real estate with Alexa and all the nonsense. There was,
you're right.
I'll never forget it.
That's right, yeah.
It was a revolution.
It was.
It's not, because anybody who's selling on Google is going to lose 5 to 15%.
Yes.
In order for somebody to make an offer sight unseen, think of the conditions. Would you make an offer for fair market value sight unseen? No, is the answer.
No.
So if that is to be true, and robots are not buying homes, people are buying homes, we can't fear that the robot can do that component.
They were trying to sell these information type robots to put in houses to tell everybody. Okay, this I'm sorry, but the human touch is such an important part of this, and people want to talk to someone who's going to help them through the exercise of buying or selling a home, and they need more than just data. So, because if it was about data, it would have ended a long time ago. So AI is going to be such a benefit to the realtor. We're incorporating it everywhere. You're going to see some exciting announcements as time wears on with our service providers, because they're the ones doing the work. But ultimately, the time right now is unfortunate because of the market conditions. Otherwise, I think if everybody who talks about buying or selling actually did that, I know, I think the market will be overrun by people over a period of time. I really believe that's going to happen. It's going to be that triggering moment. But I want to go back to the original question. 20 years, more than 20 years. I think when I started as a realtor, I couldn't believe I had to be a member of 3 boards in order to do my business. I lived in Oakville. I had to be a member of Oakville. I had to be a member of Toronto. I had to be a member of Hamilton. Otherwise, I couldn't do the marketplace. Oakville and Burlington are contiguous. It's really one market.
And Mississauga and
of course. And it was like a problem. And so expensive, and and then for years you had to call someone and say, hey, can you send me the listing because it's not on my board, even though it's right next door to mine? Like, it's insane. So those types of things, and the opportunity with PropTech is have a dedicated group of people that are focused on the technology and innovation, because that's really what I focus on, is innovation. And I want to be at the forefront for our members so that you have the best possible tools. And now it extends to PropTech's client boards and client members. So this is an exciting time. And I think we'll be able to do so much.
I have never seen RMLS to the evolved state that it is today ever. I never dreamed of having the opportunity to... The way you use data is what makes us different. The difference between me and any other realtor is the way we interpret the world. Mm-hmm. I have never had, maybe because I'm a data nerd, maybe because I love technology, maybe because I like doing business at scale, like that, those are just my interests. Maybe that's why I'm so excited about it. But when I see my team members, and I have team members that range in age from 22 years old, they won't talk to me. They only text me. Like these are human behaviors that are not only acceptable. There's an avatar out there for all of this. But on my team, I have the privilege of having a 22-year-old young man, and I also have a 67-year-old female who is not technologically forward. However, has never found it easier to navigate her real estate world. No drop-down menus, no endless friction to get something done. You literally prompt it, and it comes. Like the example that I just gave. It's the first time I used it. Was yesterday. That feature. Typically, I would just go and search.
It's been around a little while, so
I understand. but I'm saying, like, I copied and pasted.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And it spit out 7 perfectly matched
AI.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think that this is another tool that's going to be in your quiver as you go through the entire ecosystem. People will learn more, and will have to actually do less in order to get what you needed.
Is there a specific tool that you're working on or are excited about that's rolling out in the near future? Something that you think can change even more and or bring value to our profession?
I think there's so many things out there right now. We have to be careful as to what we introduce. We don't, there are certain things that we provide and people take for granted. We want to be sure that whatever we introduce is something of value. We're looking at some products right now and other systems, let's call them, that will be, sort of an adjunct to the system. But more than that, we hope to introduce some brokerage tools in the next little while, as well as a specific member or realtor tool for taxes and receipts and stuff like that people can use.
So easily bring them into your digital ecosystem,
right,
do your taxes quicker.
And also compliance. So these are things that we just basically provide as an advertising opportunity so that you can choose what you want. It's not something that's going to be baked into the system or anything like that. But the stuff in the system right now, what we're focusing on, AI.
Mm-hmm. With that said, John, what I'm going to do is we're going to take a quick break. This is going to mark the end of our conversation for Broker's Playbook podcast, and we're going to proceed on to film a few very special segments based on questions asked by our Broker's Playbook community members. These are 100% real estate and mortgage professionals, so they're not client-facing questions. They're B2B questions from the street, basically, for you. So first and foremost, I want to thank every single person who tuned in to watch myself and John this morning. We thank you. We appreciate you logging in and being a part of the journey of Broker's Playbook, of myself, of course, of the Toronto Real Estate Board. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.